Well, we've still got more. We've got a very cool thread from our Chamber Senator.
I know.
So he was responding to a comment by Blixcoy in the Discord. Let me just switch the screen. So if you instantly die with no gunshot or explosion of any kind walking through the woods, was that likely a hacker? Or could someone have just shot me and I didn't hear the gunfire? I said, what server, mate? Public, probably a hacker. Good community. You probably got headshot. Then Chamber Senator came in. Now, while one can never be 100% sure unless an admin checks the logs that a sudden instant death is due to a hacker, a well-aimed long-distance suppressed shot or due to desync or bug that causes the game to not even play the thunk sound when the bullet hits, or desync that causes you to be in a slightly different spot for someone else than where you are, context is everything. Getting killed by hackers does happen. No argument there. However, you would likely be amazed at how frequent it is for players to get ridiculously close to each other and neither being aware of the other, or how often players have no idea they are being trailed or stalked by someone else, even in the most remote areas of the map. Not to mention the times one player is in the middle of nowhere thinking they are alone and sorting their gear, only to suddenly see some dude running through the woods out of the corner of their eyes and quickly get the drop on them. If a dev just blatantly screams hacker or scripter, don't hesitate to report it to the admins whenever possible. The few minutes you spend reporting it not only helps you, but the admins wanting to keep hackers or scripters off their server and protect their reputation, as well as everybody else who plays on the server. Don't just leave it to someone else to report it when they die. That's the kind of thinking hackers and scripters want. If it's only a bit suspicious, note the exact time and location. If it happens again a short time after on the same server, put both times in the report. A link between the two can make all the difference. It was a very well explained response.
Those devil's advocate speeches, I'm getting feedback. Is that mine?
It might be, you might need to mute your the share screen, like turn the audio down on that. Sometimes it can echo from Buddy, like Buddy has his desktop audio on and it can echo.
Let's see, is that better?
Better.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I didn't even turn it on. Those devil's advocate arguments are why people, those are what made me not even want to post the video about the problem in the first place, because there were so many comments in there. Oh, just because you died, just because someone's better than you doesn't mean they're a hacker, you know?
Yeah, I had so many of them as well.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm not even, none of this footage is mine. This is all footage that was sent to me, that was sent to devs that resulted in bans. You know, like Fraggle Rock sent me some, which is blatantly a hacker. You know, the guy's skipping around everywhere. And somebody was like, maybe it's desync. I'm like, are you just one of those people whose personality insists that you contradict everything? You know, but I don't know, man. I agree with him, sure, but I think people are smart enough to know when they got got or when they got killed by a cheater.
Now,
you know?
Chamber Senator goes on, though, and I want to continue it. High-pop public servers do have a significantly higher risk of hacker shenanigans than on community servers, of course. It can still be reported to the official bug tracker, even though you may not get a direct response. At the very least, the info about the time and server will help BI detect and address new hacks or scripts by flagging the specific server and time for investigation. While there's nothing much that players can do other than reporting possible hacks, there are things to keep in mind to help prevent being unexpectedly given a one-way ticket back to the coast. Death can happen at any time from any direction in DayZ, but constant vigilance is exhausting. Your brain can sometimes work against you simply from the results of millions of years of evolution. Humans have a natural tendency to relax their guard a bit in certain situations and not even realise it. For example, you're running across a wide open field towards the safety of a nearby forest. All the while, you're looking all around you, hoping you're not caught out in the open. You get to the tree line and hide by a tree to catch your breath. You move into the forest. You ever so slowly, you become a little bit less vigilant bit by bit. Your brain has been wired over hundreds of thousands of years or more to see forests as safer than open grasslands. The trees surrounding you are protection, the brain says, so you relax. So maybe you check behind you a little less often than you should be. After a while, you're barely checking behind you at all. Your brain is focused on where you are going and not getting lost, not what's behind you. That old wiring in your brain can let you down in towns and villages too. Let's say you've wisely taken a few minutes to scope out the town from a distance before you enter. Sometimes quiet seems quiet enough, so you approach cautiously, avoid aggroing the nearby Zeds, and start to scavenge the buildings for loot. First danger passed, but it's the next one that can get you a few minutes later. You are trying to loot the buildings reasonably fast and keeping an eye out for nearby Zeds. Your ears should still do a good job detecting a nearby player who hasn't seen you yet, but your eyes, they have enough to do as it is, and not leaving much to actively check for that possible sniper on the roof or in the upstairs window ahead. Not only that, but every doorway you pass through sort of partially resets the way your brain processes where it is and what it is doing. Ever go into a room and forget why you were there, why you went there? This is usually why. Now think about all the times that happens when you are looting a town, and by the time you're halfway through, you are considerably less aware of your surroundings beyond the obvious danger spots and keeping track of the wandering Zeds around you. So what to do when your own brain is suddenly working against you? Best advice I have is to remember to stop every now and then during those times I describe above. Stop and find cover and take a moment to check all around you and refocus your brain. Listen, wait, move on. That's 20 seconds you spent checking around you, and resetting your vigilance might save your life. I just responded with that is quite literally one of the best threads ever. He really summed up the psychology of DayZ and how, yes, hackers are a genuine issue, but we can all agree there are so many people who scream hacker the moment that they get shot unexpectedly.
I think you always want to blame the fault with someone else other than yourself, and everyone's guilty of that. I've done it. I mean, when you're streaming and you get got out of nowhere and you're like, fucking stream sniper, there's no way anybody knew I was up there. You know? And then you don't realize that that building over there has a vantage point right on top of that tree you're hiding on. That's where the guy was. Also, it's not just those instant deaths. It's the biggest thing for me is the people stealing the buried stashes. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's another huge thing people are complaining about in the comments on the video. People finding hidden bases in the woods, or those new, they're not new now, they're a year old, those shelters that are really well hidden in the woods. Like they're just griefing and shit. I just wanted to clarify that I'm not just talking about dying in PvP. I'm talking about when you bury your stash of loot of, your entire dry sack of nails that took you 2 days to get underneath the bush. And then when the server resets, the bush pops back up. So there's no way they see the hole. And then suddenly it's gone when you log back on because somebody ESP'd it, Yeah,
I watched like Dyson says there, BI needs to reduce the range at which the client knows about stashes. That's apparently quite an easy, I say easy, not knowing anything about game development, but more back on what Chamber Senator was talking about. That's stuff that people need to be aware of. More often than not, your own death is, or your death is your own fault. Because you do. I find myself doing it all the time. It's why I get scared so much playing this game, particularly when you're streaming. You're not paying as much attention to what's going on around you. You're interacting with chat, and the next thing you know, there's a player there and your heart is in your throat, or someone's taking a shot at you. You really go check out Vigilante Gamer. He's probably the best tactician on DayZ I've ever seen. I shout him out all the fucking time. The guy has just started making videos again, breaking down firefights and stuff like that. But he has some amazing videos on how to approach dangerous areas. And there's this DayZ's a game that there's so many elements of it. Like someone said, wow, university level anthropology essay, nice. That this is one of the best breakdowns of what happens to you when you're playing DayZ. Because it's a game that takes hours, Blister. It's hard to maintain high vigilance that entire time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.